Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 12 of the Subscription Podcast. I'm Paul Chambers, joined by my very special guest today, Charlie Wolborg.
Hi. Hello.
And Charlie
I'm so excited to be here.
Is here because Chris George is on a plane right now. And I had a moment of panic. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do this by myself. And I thought, who is the second smartest mind I know behind my brother? And then there's you, and then there's Chris George. Now we love Chris George.
Well, I was a seat filler at the Oscars, so I'm used to just
Have you actually done that?
For big people.
Have you done it? Were you a seat filler at Oscars?
Do I look like anyone who would ever be near an Oscars telecast?
For those of you that are listening, Charlie is a slender, very muscular man, and the muscles are what really makes it challenging for him to fit in the seats. So let me ask you this, Charlie. What do EVs, Bacon Turkey Bravo, GPT Plus, ESPN, the Cleveland Guardians, and Hint Water all have in common?
They are answers on Final Jeopardy.
That is correct. They're all topics on today's podcast.
Oh my gosh.
Episode 12.
That's exciting.
Yes, it's very long. So quick background on yourself, Charlie. You were a speaker at SubSummit 2016?
I think 3. I've done 3. Yeah. I did the very first one.
Yep, 2016 in Detroit.
Okay. So that's...
Yep, the very first one. And then
I didn't realize there'd be a test.
You helped out. You were there for us in 2019. We had a speaker back out. And you filled in real quick. You were awesome.
Seat filler. I'm a professional seat filler.
You're a professional speaker filler.
Yes, okay.
So even better.
I'm like the mortar between the really good speakers. Put some Charlie in there.
You do such a good job at it. And you're one of the, so you have an agency called Curve Detroit, a very creative mind. I've always respected and admired you. We've been friends for how long now? At least a decade?
At least a decade.
A decade. Yeah. Started on Twitter.
Yeah.
The good old days of Twitter.
And South by Southwest, we ate crawfish together.
We did, yeah. That was a lot of fun. My first time.
Just lost all the vegan audience.
They're gone.
Those shrimp killers.
Oh my gosh,
they were delicious.
Tragic. And you curate then run the TEDx Detroit conference.
Oh yeah,
and you've done that since the beginning.
15th year.
15 years of running TEDx Detroit.
Yeah.
And that's a really you were there in the early days of TED. Of launching the TEDx, because weren't you one of the first TEDx events?
So when they announced, TED started in '84, but and then they put the videos online, and to go to a TED conference, it was like $10,000. You had to apply and be really kind and beg to get in, and so it
was like a blue checkmark of the world.
Back when you couldn't buy a blue checkmark, getting in, people would really put thoughts into their application. So they had this pent up demand, and in 2009, they said, let's do the X program where instead of coming to TED, we'll take TED to you. And so the X allowed you to have a TED in your city. And so I applied to help out with TEDx Detroit, and they emailed me back and like, yes, you're on TEDx Detroit. And I'm like, great, who's running it? And they're like, you are. Really? I'm like, well, who's on the committee? You are.
Wild.
So I'd like to say they selected me, but I was really like, that sounds fun.
You didn't realize what you were getting into when you started with that.
Careful when you raise your hand.
Yeah. Well, so, but that was, how many TEDx's did they do that year when they first launched that?
It changes whenever you look at, if you go to TEDx.com, you can search from the beginning. Really? Originally, I thought we were number 9, and now I think we're like number 38 because they keep adding. So I don't know if people are just making, wait a minute, I had one.
Yeah.
But I think they did a lot of test events.
I see.
As they were developing the program.
I see. So I want to come back to the blue checkmark thing for a second, because I want to ask you about this. Would you, or do you plan to subscribe for a blue checkmark either on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram?
No.
But
here's the funny thing. So one of my favorite books, and we share a love for children's books, Dr. Seuss, Starbellied Sneetches from Sneetches and Other Stories.
I haven't heard that one.
You have not heard the Starbellied Sneetches?
No.
Okay, we're gonna have to stop the book. And we're gonna,
okay,
but in there are Sneetches on the beaches, having Frankfurter roast and having a great time. And some of the Sneetches have stars on their belly, and other Sneetches don't have stars on their belly. Now, a subscription entrepreneur named Francis McMonkey McBean rolls into town with a subscription service. For $10, he will allow you to put a star on your belly. So suddenly, all the Sneetches without stars on their bellies go get stars.
Yeah.
And then everyone has a star, and the people who had the star originally are like, wait a minute, how do you know I'm a star-bellied sneetch? And so then Francis McMonkey Bean starts another subscription service where he'll take the star off. And so now the people who originally had him go get them off because now they're out of fashion. And so he ends up taking all the Sneetch's money by selling them either on or off, and they're running in and out of the machine trying to be unique. That was a very long story. I'm so sorry.
From this, your answer to no is because you feel like it's...
So if you would have asked me in 2008, I'm like, all I want in this life, yes, to be a good father, maybe, but a blue check mark, oh my gosh. And then as soon as everyone could buy one, well, I don't want that.
It's not special anymore.
No.
But the goal behind it of identifying you're a real person and and gives you special preference, you don't like the other things that come along with that. Well, you still like the fact that it's sort of an elite thing.
The launch was so poor that anyone could become Hormel chili and 80. So the veracity of that blue check mark disappeared with one bad decision. I don't think the blue check mark holds any weight now.
Okay. Take the blue check mark out of the equation for a second. And I know we've talked about this on the podcast before, Chris and I have, but I love your perspective on it. Because Chris had a very similar approach to you where he felt like it's lost its value. It used to be a special thing.
Right.
And my argument against it was special if you could afford to pay pay off an employee at Twitter or Facebook or Instagram to get it for you.
You mean they weren't real?
Right. No, you could buy your way into the check mark.
What about the Easter Bunny?
Okay. Sometimes we might have a younger audience. Of course, the Easter Bunny is absolutely as real as the blue check mark. And I think, but like...
My parents paid the Easter Bunny to come to my house?
So take the blue check mark out of the equation for a second. The other benefits you get from the subscription on those platforms of, sliding into DMs a little bit higher or... being part of conversations.
You rascal. Sliding into my DMs like that.
Just slide into your DMs. But that's, there's some nice benefits to that perk.
But also I feel like, I don't want to get political on the show, but I feel like the people I used to hang out with on Twitter have left Twitter long ago. Yeah. I feel like, Twitter's heyday for me was back the pre-Oprah. Once Oprah came out, then we have the BO period. The BO period was beautiful.
What's the BO period?
Before Oprah.
Oh, before Oprah.
And then, so then she comes on, and then it's been a steady decline. And then there was the fiasco era, when Elon takes over, didn't take over, took over. And there was the credibility of a declining asset really called into question. So I spend a fraction of the time I used to spend on Twitter. I used to be a voracious Twitter.
You were very active on Twitter.
Yes.
And now you're not.
No, I'm not. I still look at it.
Elon has brought some beautiful things into your life.
I love Elon. I love the Boring Company. I think we need that. I think SpaceX is a lifeboat for civilization. I think Tesla has transformed an industry. Why the hell he's worried about what people read while they're pooping, I don't get.
It is fascinating. There's more to this story. I think there's much more to like where Twitter is going to be going, what he's going to be doing with it.
You're a super app theorist, huh? That's
I think so. He's talked about it before about X.com and it becoming something more.
But if you've ruined the credibility of a platform, the idea of it becoming the super platform, you took something I don't trust, and now you're saying, "But we do finance too." You've lost.
True.
Restoring trust is much harder than building trust.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's easier you can quickly lose that trust, and it takes much longer to rebuild it. Absolutely. But so I'm fascinated, you love and admire all the different things that Elon's done.
Yes.
But you didn't buy a Tesla when you bought an EV.
Right.
Why not?
The tax, because he was outside the tax.
Oh, yeah. Because what did you end up, remind me of yours, you bought an Audi.
Well, we're really getting into Starbelly's future. Yes. I love Audi. It's one of my, I have foreign and domestic cars.
So it's purely,
happy.
It's purely an EV though. Your Audi is
it's purely EV. It's an e-tron.
Okay.
And I looked at the Tesla and the Audi because they hadn't sold their, whatever that threshold of cars to get the tax limit. Tesla didn't have that for the same price. I could get a much better car.
They just priced you out of it.
Yes.
But now the prices have dropped. And
yes.
maybe. Would you have considered it though if it weren't?
I
for
did
the tax?
actually. The X was at the top of
I
my
mean,
list.
$7,500 is a lot of money because that's what that tax credit is, right?
Yes.
So where do you charge your car?
At home, at the airport.
Yeah.
I love ChargePoint. I love EVgo is the new subscription that's really sharp.
Do you pay for that subscription? Do you pay for the EVgo subscription?
I don't. I use the app because I don't know if their charge network is enough to where I'm going because I have I have loyal. Those are my first preference. If there are two chargers in the market, I'll go to EVgo first. I'll go to ChargePoint second, and then I'll take what's available third. I haven't been in a situation where it's like, oh, well, which one will I?
Yeah. Well, but if you were part of it, would you be more loyal to it? Like if you're a subscriber to like EVgo, then you'd probably seek those ones out.
Yes.
So are you like, do they have memberships though? Or like, are you a member of any of those, like a loyalty program?
I haven't even looked into it because the number of chargers. Tesla has the best charging network out there. And I like the hardware that ChargePoint and EVgo works. It's the best at handshaking with my vehicle.
Really?
So there was another one called Juul that started up that had a few test ones.
Those are the e-cigarettes.
They were also a charger as well.
Really?
And their physical design was amazing, and I thought their brand was really cool, but I can never get the handshake between my car and the charger to work. So I've stopped using those altogether.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Like it just, when you connect it wouldn't.
You're waiting for the green light to come on, and it would blink white, yellow, red. And so.
It just wouldn't work. The tech wasn't there. So
sorry, not everything's as reliable as a Tesla charger.
But I didn't. So Tesla,
easy there, fanboy.
Tesla started experimenting in the United States with allowing non-Tesla vehicles to their Tesla charging stations.
Oh, great!
Yeah, they're New York and I think California are the two ones that they started. And I noticed in their app the other day they have a membership that you can buy for, I think it's $12.99 a month. So you can pay as you go for charging, and you get the pay-per-use, you get access to the network, but the membership, you get access to the network and a lower price per kilowatt hour. So I ran the math on my Tesla, like based on how much my app tells me. Oh, I didn't save it in there, but basically per kilowatt hour, I would save like $80 a year after the membership on it. And I've been talking with people a lot more about like membership and loyalty programs, because I've been reading a lot about like what Panera Bread is doing in the space. They're kind of building this like Amazon-like creature over there. A lot of weird ways.
But I have a problem with it. Like, so Panera, not a frequent, but probably once a month I'll get Panera. Okay. And they are pushing the subscription so hard, I couldn't check out of my sandwich because they were pushing the drink subscription.
Yeah.
And I couldn't, every time I would try and check out, it was, so you want to subscribe? No, I just want my bagel. Okay.
Do you drink coffee?
So, no, I don't.
Do you drink iced teas?
No.
Coke.
Diet.
Diets. So that's where that could benefit you, because sodas are part of their beverage subscription.
The subscription I would beat down the door for is if I could get a freestyle machine in my home. I would love just to be able to offer, what would you like to drink? I have them all. Right. Because we waste so much energy transporting water around the planet. If I could just plug into my Detroit tap water is among the best.
Yeah, we're very
and
fortunate.
Just put my flavor, crystal, and carbonation in there. It's better for the environment. There's the recycling chain goes around. The bottlers get completely screwed, but from a consumer standpoint and an environmental standpoint, it's a huge win. And I would never has anyone ever been excited when they say, "I'm sorry, we only have Pepsi"? Like that is the most friend zone statement at any restaurant. I'm sorry, is Diet Pepsi okay? No, it's not okay. It's Diet Pepsi.
Is Pepsi okay? But a lot of people get excited at Pepsi.
No, they don't. No, they don't. No one has ever said. I have never heard to this day someone say,
"Thank God you have
Pepsi."
Have a Pepsi. Yeah.
Oh,
no, you're right. I mean,
there are some people not as disappointed as me.
Yeah. There are Pepsi lovers. My brother was, I don't think he wasn't one of them. He loved Mountain Dew.
I know your brother, and I love your brother. Your brother is one of the most entertaining people in the world, but
we grew up with Pepsi.
This really calls his decisions in question.
It does. I thought you were going to do phone a friend. We need to call him right now. Let's phone a friend. So I want to come back to the Panera thing because I do think they're building an interesting model, even though they're like pushing it on you.
I think it's a great model, and I think they're lock someone in if again the beverage costs so little.
Yeah,
McDonald's doing the $1 drink was their best move they've ever done.
Yeah.
It's $1.37 now in Michigan.
Is it really?
Based on the taxes, but it was $1.06 forever because it was $1 drink. Because you'll pull in for the Diet Coke, and McDonald's fountain Diet Coke is wonderful. But then give me some nugs, give me a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
But it locks you in because their pop is great and it's cheap. So Panera, if they can, soak some water through some beans and sell you an expensive bagel or muffin.
That's all coffee is. You just soaking water through beans.
Yes.
I think
I have no strong opinions about things. I think just easy going.
Yeah. Never a very hard and fast opinion.
My wife is a patient woman.
I've met her. I know. This is where I think companies stand to benefit a lot today in layering in other offerings to like the loyalty and membership side of things. It's kind of
such a good moat. It's the best business moat.
Trifecta. Yeah. And I talked about this on a previous podcast. I don't know if your kids have been there yet, but my girls, when they got their phones, they downloaded the Starbucks app and they're obsessed with earning stars and the loyalty programs. So now you're seeing this in more and more places because it's creating that relationship between them. Delta, what they did with giving away free Wi-Fi. At first I was like, that's crazy. Why would they give away something that I'm willing to pay for on every single flight, hands down? Because they want to know more about me. That now, in order to get Wi-Fi on the flight now, you have to log in with your SkyMiles account. So now they're forcing every passenger, if they haven't already, to get a SkyMiles account.
I'm not as cynical as you. I think a lot of people who aren't business travelers will not pay for Wi-Fi. But if you gave them Wi-Fi, an option for Wi-Fi, I'm in. Right. So I think it's much more of a, all things being equal, I'm going to take that carrier when I have the choice. I think it's as good as a frequent flyer program. I know in the past when I've worked with large companies, they love to collect data that they don't have the ability to sift through. Their data is much more prevalent than insights.
What do you mean? What's that mean?
That we can collect all kinds of data points, but how do we turn it into actionable a customer offer or customer value?
So do you think somebody like Delta's not actually collecting that on the backside?
I would imagine they're collecting every URL, but what good?
So now I'm logged into my Delta account on the plane. I'm searching, vacations or things like that. They can start to deliver better, flight info to me or tell me like where my next trip is going to be, or they're going to jack the prices up when I start looking for the Tahiti trips because I know I'm like Googling Tahiti hotels. But then I started to think like, what if Delta introduced a membership program on top of their like loyalty program that already exists? So what if they had like Delta Plus, to where if I'm a diamond member, platinum member, gold, so I could be a gold plus member and my Wi-Fi would be faster on the flight and I would earn miles at a 1.5x on the flights and things like that. I feel like that could be, and maybe you get other things, as part of that too. Would you subscribe to something like that?
At this point, Paul rips off his mask, revealing that he's Bob Chapek, and it's just Genie Plus all over again. Yes, I think.
What was Genie Plus?
So if you go to Disney parks,
yes,
you have to pay extra for Lightning Lane.
That's
and
right.
For Fast Pass was great, but what if we charge people?
I hated Genie Plus so much I already forgot about it.
You would like one Fast Pass? What if I gave you two?
What if I sold you a Fast Pass for $30 because you really want that ride?
Yeah. And it's, my wife and I talk about this a lot because it's rough at one point that a cost of a Disney trip for families is becoming more and more, but also the parks are sold out most days. When we've been down there, that like, crap, we can't get in that park. It's
the reservation system that started because of COVID that they haven't dropped because they realize it's way better for them.
So they're leaving money on the table by not raising the rates, but also they're hurting the brand by charging to where people now have a very cynical view of that park experience.
So after you called me Bob Chapek and clearly offended me with that comment,
Bob Iger would be better.
Yeah, okay. Bob Iger is fine.
Everyone loves Bob Iger.
Do you think?
Here's Paul with the weather.
Do you think that a company like Delta or some of those would benefit from layering additional membership?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think any subscription sign up now for a software as a service or, any SOS product now has a good, better, best premium executive exclusive. They keep, what's superlative can we put on our next package?
Which one do you go for? So you're a marketing mind. Like, is there a rule in there? Like, like having 3, because they always talk about like, you should have 3 options.
Best value.
Yeah.
Most popular.
Most popular. I always go for the most popular one.
It's actually rough for me. I don't like those services because I go into analysis paralysis. Oh, I guess I'm going to have to research these more. It took me forever to buy a TV because, do I want the Q pixel technology or the Z pixel technology?
And a lot of that stuff's just made up marketing.
Made up. So I think the better thing to do is have one option, and then once someone's a member, hey buddy, you want to earn extra miles? Do you want to earn?
Why?
So the plus is after, because that way the paralysis of choice is a very real thing in the market. We have so many decisions to make throughout our day. Take that away and then upgrade. Upgrade is always better than options in the beginning. And I know people are, there'll be a lot of people say, well, once they pay one price for it, they won't pay more. So if you have more feature sets, you can roll out once someone's a member, but get them a member first.
Okay. We used to do that. We used to do a gentleman's box where once we get them in there, say like, hey, do you want to join the sock of the month and tie of the month club? Actually, we use those as departing offers. So if somebody would go to cancel the gentleman's box, we learned that, they like the socks the best, but they didn't need all the other stuff. So we throw them the offer of like, hey, before you go, do you want to stay on like sock of the month for $10 and get a new pair of socks every month? So what about this? What about annual versus quarterly? Do you think that's too much? So we're looking at Deco Creative's website right now. Their speaker at SubSummit coming up here, which is why I pulled them up. And also I love their subscription box because it helps us get rid of all the live, love, laugh stuff in our house. Their quarterly box of home decor that comes with.
Would you like this tchotchke? Would you like it with a phrase on it?
Live, love, laugh. So they present an option where you can pay per box every quarter, or you can pay the annual price and it's cheaper.
Yes. I love monthly, yearly offers if it's the same thing. Now I see extra green check marks and that worries me because now I'm like, now I have to make a value judgment rather than just saving a little bit by doing the annual.
So they have the bullet points, and they have like, if you pay quarterly, it's like 4 check marks, green check marks, and then 2 like red X's on there. You're not going to get this is interesting. If you just do quarterly, you don't get your subscription anniversary surprise, and you don't get to save $60 a year on your membership. But if you do the annual, you get your annual surprise, your anniversary surprise, and the membership. So you're saying this motivates you to do the annual?
Yes.
Do you think the green check marks are the motivating factor there?
No, just to save the money.
Just to save the money. So if you didn't get the anniversary surprise, you wouldn't like that's a non thing for you?
I don't know enough about the box.
It's a really good anniversary surprise. Let's pretend. Like
surprise.
You're getting a small human that pops out of the box.
Oh my god.
I don't know what it could be.
It's Jack in the Box.
What so once somebody's in, you like the idea of
always upsell.
Always upsell.
Yeah. But I mean, quarterly, yearly is locking someone in for term. And I like that I hate when I go and they'll give me the monthly price, but it's only available annual because I don't know if I'm going to use this service. So I can get in the box and then upgrade my membership next month.
What's your favorite subscription in your life?
I subscribe to a lot of stuff.
How many would you think if you had to guess, how many do you think you have?
Hundreds.
Hundreds?
Yes.
Well, you're counting your business ones in there.
Yeah.
Right. So you know what I just subscribed to?
What?
GPT Plus.
Huh?
I have access to GPT-4.
I subscribe to Midjourney.
Oh, Midjourney. Yes. Oh, you made those images. I saw those at one time.
Yes.
Okay. So
but now with Bing's image, I don't know if I need Midjourney, but I've already subscribed So I'm locked in.
Interesting thing is most of everything I've said today was pre-written by GPT-4. None of this is original content. Like I'm just kind of reading from the script.
That's why I'm behind the jokes here, because I'm still using ChatGPT 3.
Yeah, 3.5. Yes, please recognize the proper
So sorry.
versions.
So sorry.
Says my AI script.
I don't think any, the I in AI stands for intelligence. So generally,
Far from it.
I'm more, AB, artificial buffoonery.
Just A/B
But it's
test.
organic buffoonery.
So come back to your favorite subscription in your life. Out of the hundreds you have, the favorite one.
Really depends. It's like saying, well, what's your favorite song? Well, what kind of mood are you in?
Mm-hmm.
Like I love watching Ted Lasso, and I love watching The Last of Us. I love
HBO
getting
Apple Plus.
a case of Pellegrino at Costco.
Yeah.
I can't do my job without my Adobe subscription.
What's one thing that rubs you the wrong way about a subscription?
Well, it goes back to what we were talking about with Decorated, with having the quarterly or annual. I think Costco's greatest innovation, and locally we see it at Nino Salvaggio. I'm not going to buy that cake. Oh, I had a bite of that cake, and that cake is amazing. So that try before you buy.
The Costco model is interesting. Costco, have you ever bought just one thing in Costco?
No.
I think statistically it's impossible.
I would agree.
Bradley, have you ever bought just one thing at Costco? Have you ever gone to Costco and just bought one thing?
Yeah, like technology stuff. Like I got a camera.
No.
Like my first camera was a single item at Costco.
Really?
Got my first real camera.
Yes, that was like 10 years ago. That was a single purchase.
Okay, so last time Bradley was able to walk out of Costco was one thing was 10 years ago.
Listen, what I will say too, it was like a package of it. It was like a straight up, like with the case and with the tripod. So it wasn't necessarily just one item.
You got tucked into the bundle.
Yeah, their bundles do a real good job of, so you can't do a straight comparison. Even if you buy Diet Coke there, you buy 35 cans. You can't compare it to 3 cases of 12.
Yeah.
Because and that's a lot of math. And so it's beyond me. So I assume it's just an incredible deal.
3 cases of 12, somewhere over 30. I wanted to ask you this because you're a streaming fan. Mm-hmm. You admitted you have an Apple TV Plus subscription, an HBO subscription, or you're borrowing them
curious,
from
how
somebody.
many do you subscribe to? How many?
Netflix, Hulu, Disney. I borrow an HBO Max one. Don't tell anybody. And Amazon I pay for. Do you know your Amazon Prime renewal date? Do you know when that hits your credit card every year?
No, I wait for them to send me an anniversary gift.
They're never going to send you an anniversary gift.
Okay.
Come from Jeff himself. The day I meet somebody that can tell me like when their Amazon Prime renews, I will pay for it. I will pay for their Amazon Prime because I don't think anybody actually knows. It's that valuable to people that they don't know. So anyway, so Amazon in there as well. The thing that I think is a missed opportunity is how ESPN is not the leader in sports streaming. Isn't that a huge miss?
Yeah, absolutely,
for them?
Absolutely. And what's funny is I do a bit about Sports Illustrated in my keynote, where I talk about, Sports Illustrated was the worldwide leader in sports, but they looked down on television journalism.
They did.
Yeah, like if you're a journalist, you need that smell of ink on your hand. Mm-hmm. So as new technology came on, they could have done SIPN instead, but they passed on it because they just disrespected TV. So ESPN came in and ate their lunch with cable TV, and then the insult to injury at the International Magazine Awards 10 years in, who won the best magazine? Was ESPN magazine. Yeah. And so now ESPN has fallen in love with their factory, and they missed
their
out
factory
on
of what? Just live TV?
That we make, TV, that we're buying rights, that, and as we've gone to the digital age, they've been way too slow. And so I'm not going to tune into SportsCenter because I've already gotten those quips on Twitter, on TikTok, or whatever channel I subscribe to. Someone's already making the joke that I used to tune into SportsCenter to get.
Yeah.
The highlight, I don't have to tune in the end of the day. The highlight happens as it happens.
Yeah, the highlight comes to you immediately.
They missed that immediacy. So someone else has come in and taking their lunch from them.
But so even as far as like the streaming goes, Amazon Prime is scooping up rights, and I mean, like Amazon, a company that started as a bookstore, is buying streaming rights for the NFL and the Cricket League and all these other things that they're buying out there. What a missed opportunity. Are they going to go the way of, Kmart? Are we going to be like, you remember ESPN? I remember ESPN. Oh,
and
sports.
See, Mr. Chapek is trying to get us to talk about the value of ESPN to spin off. Again, I really think.
Are they trying to spin that off?
There's talk of it. Everything's on the table because they are billions in debt. I think they can still turn around. I don't think it's too late, but they have to start thinking as a digital content company instead of someone who's has a program between 6 and 7 p.m.
I mean, I feel like they have a whole worldwide of sports in Florida, so they're thinking of other things.
But okay, so I really want to come back to Prime for a second with their. I think Prime's movie and music is the biggest waste of money that any company has ever made, because I don't think anyone is subscribing to Prime for the movies.
You know why Amazon Prime Video is terrible? Because their user interface sucks.
But again, you are not subscribing to Amazon because they have some movies and a bad interface.
But I don't cancel my Amazon Prime because I don't get the music. You have to pay extra for the music.
You don't? Okay, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so I think it's like I ended up canceling the Amazon Music because my kids were all iPhone, and so they wanted to do Apple Music, and it's built into it.
Steve Jobs.
And so
I love you.
We should talk about the Apple hardware subscription and everything else on that side too. But I think Amazon's missing an opportunity. I think they have me so hooked on the shipping and everything else. And by the way, like what a great like trick they pulled during COVID too. Afterwards, how like everything used to be guaranteed 2 day and next day. Now Prime is just it'll show up in a certain time frame. Like it's no longer guaranteed.
Right, and I make a conscious effort not to buy off Amazon. I'd rather buy from independent. No, because whereas I was very much anti Walmart 10, 15 years ago because I saw them as the ruiner of small towns. I see Amazon now as the ruiner of small business. If I don't buy direct from the company, Amazon can squeeze all that money. The amazing thing, Amazon is one of the largest media buys. We used to, in retail, you'd have to pay for shops for shelf space. You buy the end cap, you'd have to pay a retailer. And now to even have an Amazon listing, you have to pay so much of your margin in there. So they are squeezing the small independent business and taking out that profit. So I buy direct whenever I can. I don't like to buy through Amazon. But I don't know anyone who is subscribing to Amazon for the movies. I think they're buying for the show. So I think the $1 billion they spent on
it's a waste of their money.
Yeah,
I think you're right. People aren't staying. Nice. They're not coming for the video and they're not staying for the video.
Right.
It is a nice perk.
Right.
But that's where, the more things you layer in, going back to Panera Bread, like we were talking about earlier, the coffee subscription is one thing, but now once you're subscribed to, a member of their program, you're getting free delivery. You're getting the Amazon Palm Pay they just announced the other day. You can use there. So they're adding in layers of convenience. So I think the idea behind that is the more they can continue to layer in, the less likely you are to leave. Because I found in our house, I've committed to, this is where you might shame me. I've committed to Amazon as where we buy all of our video content that we purchase, right? Versus Apple, and using Apple. And I don't know why. I don't know why we just decided to make that. I made that decision on where we want to buy. I didn't want to have it be fragmented. So now I'll probably stick around for that. And as part of that,
where I buy if I'm going to buy something, it's through Apple.
It's through Apple.
But most of it is streaming.
The reason I chose Amazon is because I wanted to be a little bit more platform agnostic. So I could go over to my Roku device. I could go over to my iPhone. I could still get that video content wherever I went. That'll probably change in the future, though.
So to go back to sports, because I think this is a fascinating thing with Bally TV, which used to be Fox Sport, that declared bankruptcy. A lot of the regional sports networks are in question, and the baseball contracts make their money off that payment. So are we going to see player salaries decline? I think, you look at the Yankees are in a very unique position with the YES Network. They owned their own channel. If you wanted to watch the Yankees on TV, you bought it from them. I think the Dodgers have a very similar deal where they sold their rights exclusive. But the challenge is the smaller markets don't have that kind of cachet and that many eyeballs. So I think the company who is going to lead sports into the next century is the Savannah Bananas. I don't think I'm dead serious. Because they realize they're in the entertainment business, and everyone else is like, oh well, we're baseball. And
Enter Cleveland Guardians. For $49 a month, you get the ballpark pass. You get guaranteed standing room only ticket to every game, including high demand and weekend games. You get ease of delivery of your ticket via the app, and you get access into the standing room only locations, the corner bar, left field, right field, drink rails, and that's it right now. But
am I getting the games digitally?
That I don't know. It's only saying those three things right now.
See, like going back to Disney, I think there should be a Disney Plus service where I get the streaming service, but then I also get a discount at the parks.
For sure. I think they absolutely should layer in additional.
And the same with the shopping. Shop Disney should be integrated into that. So anytime once I have that customer, what else can I sell to them?
Yeah.
But the Savannah Bananas, if you don't know about them, they're a minor league team. They break all the rules of the traditions of the game, but they have fun and they realize they're entertaining. And
did you see his backstory, by the way?
No.
I got to send you this TikTok. It's unbelievable because he told the story about how they started. They bought this team. He mortgaged his house, all these things, and it wasn't until they started having fun did it go that direction for them, and just enjoying all aspects of it. And so, just to fill in our audience who isn't familiar with them, sometimes the pitcher comes out on stilts. Sometimes before they throw out a pitch, all the players will do a dance, like the musical play, and everybody in the field does like a TikTok dance and things like that. The umpire will do
the game is limited to 2 hours. Yeah, the game ends at 2 hours, so it can't
make
go
it
on.
fun and different.
If
you're not going to see the MLB do that.
If you walk, you still have to earn the base. Like if they throw 4 balls, they have to throw the ball to every player on the team before you get to first base, or you're out. So it's like there's no downtime.
Yeah,
they're taking downtime out of it. I think the other big learning in sports is, and we already see this happening. F1 did such a good, they were a sport that no one cared about. They build a Netflix show, and suddenly F1 is all the rage.
In America.
And now we see it happening in tennis. We see it happening in golf. Hard Knocks. We're in Detroit, and a lifelong disappointed Lions fan. Hard Knocks came on last year. Everyone was, we're going to the Super Bowl, and then we lost seven games. But it was if I'm the owner of the Fords right now, I know we are not the team for Hard Knocks on HBO this year, but I would be hiring a camera crew to follow the team around through training camp and produce that, and that goes out locally through TV. So if I'm the Guardians, if I'm the St. Louis any team, I am making a reality show out of my players. Because if we look, how many dumb videos from influencers about, I'm going to the dentist today. We follow those slice of life. So we need to turn our players into brand individuals. And I think the same rule goes for a company. If you are running a small startup, turn the process into a reality show. It doesn't have to be a half hour. It doesn't have to be 5 minutes, but show us how the sausage is made.
Yeah.
I always go back to the story of Martha Stewart. She was she had the
before she was a criminal.
Before she was a criminal or the king of all media, she was a caterer, and she started publishing her recipes. She would give her recipes away, and her brain trust was like, "Are you an idiot? You're a caterer. You're giving away intellectual property." And I don't if you bake it all, there's a big difference following the same recipe. A person who can bake good and a person who can't bake good. Whole different product.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's disappointing. I thought someday I'd take up cooking. I'll never be good at it.
So even if you should, it can show how much work you're putting into it, how much knowledge you have. It gives that Cliff Clavin, another old reference. We're giving the trivia about your people and about your company. So we're seeing behind the scenes, but we do business with people we know, like, and trust. I am much more reticent to cancel a subscription from Sherry because, even though I'm not using her box anymore, I like that team. I follow that team. I get invested in those emotions. We know this with podcasts. How many times have you listened to a podcast and you feel like you really know those people?
Right.
And, you can send a letter, you don't hear anything back. And letter is like an email.
For those of you.
But there's a million people that are emailing and listening.
Yeah.
But you feel, because they're in your head for an hour a week, you feel like you have that relationship. So anytime you can build the relationship with content, you win.
Yeah. So you think we should all have camera crews following us, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I've talked to you about this before because I always joke Chris George wants like Bradley to follow us around with a camera all the time and capture all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, but like only like 1% of it's going to be valuable. And then, like how much time do we put into that? But if you put some time and effort into like focusing on the times that are important, hey, we're going to do a team meeting today. We're going to be talking about our selection process for this month's subscription box, or we're going to be reviewing some of our content for next month's deliverables. Those kind of things would be valuable.
Well, I think it's the worst thing in the world for Bradley. It's the best thing in the world for Chris, because we would get to know him on a different level. Chris is such a gregarious guy. I smile every time I talk to him.
Yeah.
But when you see him on stage or you have him in a business call, you're not seeing that full person.
Yeah.
And again, I always encourage people to talk about what food you like, what movies you like, where you like to travel, because you can talk about the nuts and bolts of your business. It's very hard for people who aren't intimately involved with your business to understand that. But, oh, hey, we both like Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah.
Another pop culture reference, 40 years old. It gives you common ground. It gives you a place to start building a relationship from.
That's really good. That's really good insight. And I think there's so many brands that can easily take something like that, because we think sometimes like, oh, in order to do this, we're going to need, a really professional camera setup and everything else. But these are amazing.
Absolutely.
At video now. Like the quality on the iPhone or any of the Samsungs and stuff like that is unreal.
Steve Jobs.
Unreal. And so I think filming content, producing content doesn't take as much effort as you might think it is, and tons of opportunity.
But your store, so let's go back to if you have a surplus store for things that were in your box that you bought too many of.
Yeah.
Don't just list them on there. Have and Zappos used to do this back in the day. Have your employees talk about, oh, here's why I love this item.
Yeah.
Because they'll talk about the item, but also you'll get to see, oh, here's Pete in packing.
Yeah.
Who knew Pete?
Yeah.
But now I have a friend at the company.
Now you know it. Yeah.
And
that's
so
a really good point.
have them list their favorite product, have them list their favorite box you've ever shipped, along with where's their favorite pizza. Nowadays it's like we have two schools of thought. It's like, I'm going to say everything inflammatory and like piss people off, or we don't want to offend anyone.
Right.
So I encourage people to have friendly debates, because debates are very healthy.
Yeah.
So argue about pizza, argue about the best song, what is U2's best album?
Yeah.
And it can, Joshua Tree, maybe none of them, but no one gets hurt, and you can still have a passionate argument about those entertainment or food.
That's how you get that out of your system.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you have it shared
pineapple
experience
on
then.
pizza.
Right.
What kind
Monster.
of crazy people?
Right.
I actually like pineapple on pizza.
No, it's
Ham and
terrible.
pineapple. Last thing before we go, just before we got on, you were complaining about Hint Water.
Me?
Yeah.
What?
Hint Water, and I remember this, they rolled out a sunscreen that they had, and it's gone.
It smells magnificent. My whole family loves it because I don't want to smell like,
Yeah. Why do you think they got rid of it?
Attacked by a coconut. I think because the packaging was so similar, it looked, it had the
so
same
people were
brand.
just trying to drink sunscreen.
I don't know if it was a brand confusion, but it was
Hand me
a
a
great
water
product. We would subscribe to Hint sunscreen, and we don't mind Hint Water, but we wouldn't subscribe to Hint Water, but we would absolutely subscribe to that sunscreen. It was a great product.
And it's gone now.
And it's gone.
So you have 2 left in your household?
Yeah, we have 2 left.
I know what I'm going to get you for Christmas.
They're going for extreme amounts on eBay.
That's what I was going to go look. Never mind. Just kidding.
No.
Not getting it for you for Christmas.
Oh, no. Yeah. It's like a retired Lego set now.
Oh.
Hey, got any more of that sunscreen?
So Nick Sharma is become a friend of ours through SubSummit. He used to work for Hint. Maybe he has a stash.
Oh, yeah. Get the pineapple sunscreen. Chef's gifts.
Charlie, this is a lot of great topics. It was a lot of fun having you on today. We got through them all. We have saved many of our bullets.
We did? Okay,
yeah,
great.
We got bacon turkey.
I thought we were going to brainstorm some ideas for boxes when we get to that.
We were, but we ran up on time. But you want to do a rapid fire on that?
No,
what did you do this? We'll save it for another time. But tell me what did you used to do at SubSummit with this? Remind me what this was.
I always talk about WIST. Before you create content, you ask yourself WIST. Would I share this? Because so often we're putting publish on our newsletter because it's Wednesday at 4 p.m. We have to send the newsletter out, or whatever day that you do that, or we have to send out this marketing campaign. It's got to go. And so often we are checking out a box. We're going through the motions, and you should never go through the motions unless you're ordering pizza, and then you should get something from Pizza Bot.
So WIST, would I share this? You apply that to every channel.
And so then we have 70 different things that we'll ask. They're basically prompts. Well, what if we sang it? What if we decorate it? What if we ate it? What if we blew it up? What if we sped it up? What if we slowed it down? So you go through all these different triggers. And at SubSummit before, we've had people in the audience like, oh, what about
was that your 2019 talk you did at New Orleans?
I'm not good with math.
The one that I found for you that wasn't labeled, was that your talk that you did there?
I'm not good at math.
I sent it to you.
I don't remember. I don't know.
Would I share this? I like that. That's a good.
So like if you have a cake decorating box, all right, let's say you sell icings and decorations.
Okay.
So rather than just doing your unveil of what's in the box, have someone bake the cake and then decorate a square cake to look like your box that month, which is a meme to cut into. Is it real or a box? And so then you have someone cut into it, and then you can go through what's in the box.
Let's do one here right now. Entry envy. Your front door says so much more. So they give you they ship you one base thing that's like your house numbers on there, and then there's a little thing at the bottom where it changes out the decorations every quarter.
I love that. That's cute.
What would you do for entry envy?
So I think you have every employee pose with theirs, so you personalize it. Okay. I would take famous landmarks from around the world, take a picture of that, and then what kind of design would we do on this? So then people searching for these famous places, you accidentally show up in the stream. You're kind of like brand jacking other things, as well as doing it for fictional characters. What would John Dutton's entry envy look like? What would Dora the Explorer's entry envy look like? So you could do all those different things. I always think it's fun to work with an improv troupe. Find your local improv troupe. Ask them to come in for a day. They're very affordable and a lot of fun. And give them the different elements and have them do like a whose line is it anyway? Give me a skit based on these numbers, on these themes. Do the opposite of your box. So what would be a terrible entry envy insert? And so you do, hey, here's our new one, just kidding, and then show the good one. So by lowering the bar, then you absolutely raise the bar. So I think that's it's a cool product, a great brand. You could do a lot with that. There's
a lot of fun ones. All right, Jennifer, we just gave you 20 different marketing tactics for entry envy. There's at least 20 in there. Oh, look, they have their subscription monthly, quarterly, or annual on there as well. So, Charlie, thanks so much for coming in today.
Always happy to hang out.
I appreciate it. I think we should make just a series alone of the WIST.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
The WISTable moments.
Yes. And if you aren't, like I said, I've been to several SubSummits as a speaker and as an attendee. you put together one of the best. I go to a lot of events as a speaker and again as an attendee. You produce an amazing thing. The expo is worth the price of admission. The content, you get these CEOs of little startup brands, of well-known brands, and there's insights from both of them. You do the pitch competition for new boxes, the networking. I'm sometimes when I travel to a conference alone, you kind of feel like a wallflower. Your game night where we're playing cornhole and there's so many different activities, the hikes, the yoga, you make so many ways for people to bump into each other.
Yeah.
Because yes, the content, you can always watch the videos from an event afterwards, but the interactions.
We forget so much about how much those bump intos and those like meeting people, how important they are. And I appreciate all that positive feedback.
Face to face will always beat pixel to pixel.
Yeah. All day. I like that. Should put that in a quote on your LinkedIn.
It's in my keynote.
So I'll get you an extra Venmo on that shout out there. A little extra in the Venmo credit. How can people find you if they want to connect with you?
CharlieCurve.com.
That's easy. Did you update your website?
CharlieCurve.com will be updated soon.
And they can find you on LinkedIn as well. Could you spell your last name?
Wolborg, WOLLBORG.
All right, cool. So thanks so much for being on here, Charlie. And tune in for unlucky episode number 13 next time.
You have such an easy road ahead of you, number 13.
Where Chris George will join us again for Doom and Gloom in episode number 13. Follow us, like us, comment what you like today, subscribe. Thanks so much for tuning in.
In a world where subscription was king, one man
led episode number 13.